Let's go for a deep dive into the finance world this Tuesday night with our late news guru, Scott Phillips from Motley. Scott, good evening. Firstly, the ASX has closed 1% lower today. We've seen some concrete action from Russia in the Ukraine region. Talk us through how that's affected the market.
Tomo, good evening. As you suggested, it was a down day on the ASX, and the answer, unfortunately, is the market hasn't responded well to those moves of troops into Ukraine. It is a real concern for a whole lot of reasons. General instability and uncertainty, of course, across the market, but specifically, it has really pumped up gold stocks, as you would expect, and oil as well, as concerns remain and probably intensify that we might yet see a blockade, sanctions, or something else that will reduce the amount of gas being sent from Russia to Western Europe. As a result, the market fell, as I said, a couple of sectors in the green, but most deep in the red.
COL's released their earnings today. What does it tell us about COVID's impact on the earnings season?
Yeah, it's almost COVID in a single act, the COL's results here. We saw a very small increase in sales, 1% increase, which frankly wasn't bad coming off last year's bumper year for them. Of course, many of us cooking at home rather than going out, that really helped COL's sales soar. But massive increase in COVID-related costs. Think testing, protective equipment, staffing, rostering, all that kind of stuff, meant a 1% rise in sales was still almost a 10% fall in profits. And that very much is the story of COVID this earnings season. More costs, moderate sales growth, and a tough old time for most businesses.
Yes, the new way of the world. Now, COL.ax has released its latest house price data. Is the market finally starting to plateau?
I think it might be, and this data is really fascinating. So it's a rolling 28-day number, so looking back 4 weeks from roughly today or over the weekend at least, and we saw Sydney prices actually falling for the first time since late 2020. We're seeing Melbourne sales growth really come off. In fact, it was dead flat. Perth down to only 0.2% growth. And while Brisbane and Adelaide are kind of growing a little bit faster, their growth is also moderating. Too early to say yet. One swallow doesn't make a summer, as they say. Too early to say for sure, but it looks like we might just be seeing the first signs of house price growth stopping, possibly going into reverse at some point this year.
And Scott, before we go, what's happening with the US futures?
We talked about Ukraine earlier, Tom Allen. Unfortunately, the news isn't great. Early futures trading actually have the US markets down a full 2.5%. Now, of course, that can and probably will change overnight because this Ukraine situation continues to unfold. As it does, the markets will respond, but it's going to be a tough old night on Wall Street and probably means another tough day for us on the ASX here tomorrow.
Scott Phillips, thank you.
Thanks, Tomo.